Hi, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon if you're having lunch. I wanted to talk to you today about advisory opinions. I feel like there aren't a lot of resources out there or information as to what an advisory opinion is, why you need it, what is the place for it in your O1 petition, and hopefully I can clarify some of that information now. So an advisory opinion, I also want my clients to think of it as like a letter from a labor union, because that's exactly what it is. So certain labor unions exist for purposes of the O1 petition, and these labor unions basically issue letters of no objection. So basically they state, or they're supposed to state, that should you decide to apply to that union in the future, they would not object to you joining, nor do they object to you applying for the O1 visa. So this document is actually a technical requirement of the O1 petition. You must include it. When I mean technical requirement, I mean it's like the immigration forms. You absolutely need to include it in your petition. And if you don't include it in your petition, you will definitely get a request for further evidence, or as we call it, an RFE, where the government will actually ask for that. It's a letter to kind of legitimize your professionalism within the field. So you might be thinking, oh, Elektra, I'm a model, I'm a fashion designer, I'm a marketing specialist. There aren't any labor unions that I've seen or that I've researched for my profession. And you're right. For models, for fashion designers, for marketing specialists, there aren't any labor unions out there. So you have to do two things. You can either go to a peer organization. So I like to go to Fractured Atlas, or you can get a letter from an expert in the field. So let's say you are a marketing specialist, and that's how you're applying for your O1. So what you would do is you would either go to Fractured Atlas, because remember, there's no labor union. You can go to Fractured Atlas, which is a peer organization, or you can get a letter, an expert letter written by somebody with a high stature in the field. So when I do these expert letters, I'd like to get them from somebody who is a US citizen, because remember, this expert letter is substituting a US-based labor union. So you want to get someone that is a US expert or a US-based expert, and that letter should discuss your qualifications and why you are extraordinary and why your future jobs need somebody with your extraordinary ability. So you might say, oh, Elektra, this sounds like a testimonial letter. And it does sound like a testimonial letter. Testimonial letters, the way we draft them, tend to be around 2 pages. But for a advisory opinion letter or a peer consultation letter that my firm drafts, they end up being about 5 between 7 pages, because we really need to demonstrate to USCIS that the person is a peer, an expert peer. Number one, we need to demonstrate your extraordinary ability. Number two, we need to demonstrate the future jobs that you are contracted for. And number four, we also need to discuss why you are extraordinary and why these jobs need somebody with an extraordinary ability. So I just want to recap. So the advisory opinion, this is a technical requirement for your O1 petition. You absolutely need to include this. Advisory opinions are issued by labor unions. So for my performers out there, I usually go to, well, AGMA, if you're doing theater, for live theater or stage performances. If you're doing film, I'll go to AMPTP. If you're doing cabarets and variety shows, I'll go to AGVA. So the labor unions exist for people in the theater and the performance industries. For professions that don't have a corresponding labor union, you need to either go to a peer organization, which is Fractured. I go to Fractured Atlas, or you can get a letter that is signed by a peer expert. So Fractured Atlas has a cost. A letter from a peer expert is free. So you can strategize with your attorney as to what is the best option for you. Sometimes it's better to go to Fractured Atlas because you don't have a lot of time, or sometimes you have the time and you have a great expert that is willing to sign this lengthy letter explaining to USCIS why you are extraordinary and why your future jobs need somebody with extraordinary ability. I hope that this clarified some of your questions regarding advisory opinions. A lot of the times, sometimes people will say to me, well, I didn't know I needed this, or I don't want to submit it. And again, it is a technical requirement of your petition. You absolutely need to submit it. It needs to be included as part of the analysis that the immigration officer undergoes to understand whether or not you qualify for the O1. So again, a short little recap. Advisory opinions come from labor unions. If there's no labor union assigned to your profession, you need to go to a peer organization, which could be Fractured Atlas, or you can get a peer expert letter, which should be drafted by the expert or your attorney, and it should explain the background of the expert. It should explain what your credentials are. It should explain why you're extraordinary. It should explain your future jobs, and it should explain why your future jobs need somebody with extraordinary ability. I hope this was helpful. I hope this clarified. Again, you want to make sure that your petitions are tight. They include all of the technical requirements so that once they go to the merits-based analysis of your case, the actual meat of the case, that you've already checked off all the boxes and your petition is not deficient. Thank you everybody for watching. Today I will also give another video on a tip on how to make you stand out in your career. For those of you who are based in New York City, you know that it is a cutthroat city in whatever industry you choose to work in. And the name of the game is to stand out and be unique. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips for how you can stand out from amongst your peers, from amongst the crowd, and truly shine as the unique creative or artist that you are. Thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you later today.